I think we both could have predicted this would happen, that Aaron Judge would stay with the Yankees on a 9-year, $360 million deal. Hank, talk to me about Aaron Judge, and why don't you talk to me about John Heyman?
Well, first of all, John Heyman is not the most reliable source on Twitter. In fact, he pretty much pulled a Bob Nightingale with the jumping the gun of tweets. So screw him and screw him for like scaring me into thinking I needed to make a short video the night before when turns out all I had to do was wait to just go on with you and talk about this news. But that's a rant for another day. But let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this Aaron Judge contract. And, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that I am extremely relieved. And the reason I say I'm relieved before I'm happy is because, think about it. Every single day since the season ended, it's, is Aaron Judge going to stay with the Yankees? Is he going to go to the Giants? One of those will he, won't he suspenses. Now I wake up tomorrow morning, won't be hearing any of that because we know that Aaron Judge will be staying as a New York Yankee for the remainder of his career. And in fact, I can already picture his Monument Park plaque being made as it hangs out in center field. And I can already see his number 99 in the circular pinstripe as they retire it. So it's great to see a guy who's pretty much established himself as a Yankee legend and someone who everyone pretty much sees as the leader, getting the bag and being able to stay with the Yankees long term. And, I still think the Yankees are going to get like probably a good amount of years out of him, like during that contract. However, let's look at the contract and let's look at how old he is because we need to put some perspective here. Aaron Judge just had his age 30 season. 62 home runs. That is a season that is pretty much once in a lifetime, and there's no chance we're going to see something like that again out of Aaron Judge. But I still think he's obviously going to be serviceable or not serviceable, but still very good for the next few years. But then when we get to the halfway point of that contract, this is where it is going to get ugly with a capital U because let's not forget he's going to be in his mid 30s and this is a guy who has had a history of injuries. Now, granted, some of the injuries that he's had have been very freak. Like I remember being at the game July 27th, 2018 against the Royals when he got hit in the wrist and pretty much missed like all of August and most of September, and we were worried that like he probably wasn't going to be back in the during the season. Missed a good chunk of 2019, and then even the shortened 2020 season, he was like getting hot, hitting a home run on a like daily basis. But then all of a sudden, like he gets hurt, and while the Yankees obviously made the playoffs that year, we know what happened. I'm trying to block as much of that 2020 season out of my memory bank, but then last year happens. He had a pretty solid season. I think he had like 35 or 39 home runs, really decent. But if you told me 62, I don't know if I would have believed that, but he gambled on himself and look how it turned out. 9 years, 360 million. But again, like I said, the injuries are still one thing that's going to be a risk. And let's not forget, he has moments where he swings at those off-speed pitches and he'll strike out. So you're probably going to see more and more of that because these pitchers are going to learn to adjust. And the other thing, there's one other big elephant in the room that I didn't address. His performance in the postseason last year. Now, again, to be fair, he wasn't the only Yankee that didn't do well during the playoffs last year. In fact, I would say nearly the entire lineup didn't do well, and that's why the Yankees could not win a single game against the Astros, who to be fair, were the best team in Major League Baseball. But again, with that having been said, that's going to be questioned a lot. And even though you'll probably see the Yankees returning to the playoffs on a consistent basis, until he has that 2009 A-Rod like postseason, those questions are not going to go away. But nevertheless, it's nice to see another career-long Yankee in my career after having been spoiled with Derek Jeter. But then again, I'm not really going to put them in the same sentence until Judge wins a ring. And again, that's no insult to Aaron Judge. That's just the facts. That's just how it is with New York Yankees baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it was interesting too because Hal Steinbrenner had to seal the deal from his vacation in Italy. Because apparently, didn't somebody get a higher bid on him? Wasn't it the Padres or something?
It was. They offered him $400 million, but I think really what it all was Aaron Judge wanted to stay here. I think the only other team that really would have been a realistic possibility would have been the Giants, and that was because he grew up in the Bay Area. That was his hometown team. But it turned out I think he was really just using the Giants as like
Leverage.
bait during this whole
Yeah.
thing. And, this was obviously a Hal Steinbrenner move because, I mean,
Yeah.
look, if you saw how Brian Cashman was talking to Judge during the negotiations, and if you remember what Brian Cashman said during the Derek Jeter documentary about that ugly negotiation, then you know that Hal definitely stepped in because he knows as a businessman, we can't be losing a lot of our fans. I mean, let's face it, if John Heyman's tweet wasn't what we would call fake news, how many pitchforks and torches would you be seeing at Yankee Stadium right now? And
Yeah.
I totally agree with Noah's comment right there.
John Heyman should get boat raced. I agree. Look, at the end of the day, my opinion about this contract is it's a lot of money. It's a lot of years, but it had to be done. It had to be done.
And it was a damned if you do, damned if you don't contract, if we're being honest.
Right. I feel this contract will be albatross by the time Judge is 35 or 36, like Hank was saying.
And I don't disagree. And let me give you 3 names for you: Mike Trout, Albert Pujols,
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera. What do those names have in common?
Similar
Guys who were
fate.
signed past 30. Well, actually, Mike Trout wasn't signed past 30. I take that back. But 2 of the 3 that I mentioned,
The
Albert
longevity.
Pujols turned out to be a disaster. Miguel Cabrera, although, again, I would also argue that the Tigers were just as much at fault for that because they never should have put him at third base. But that's neither here nor there. Those are examples of why you got to be careful with giving a long-term contract to somebody like that past age 30.
Look, I'm happy for the Yankees that he's back. I think he's a huge part of this ball club, this lineup, and he's a huge part of the power hitting as well. And he's a great fielder, so I think he's the full package, and he's that 5-tool athlete that you want to keep in the Bronx, and the Yankees got the job done. So shout out to the Yankees.